And 3, 2, 1. Good morning and welcome to your Tuesday edition of the Morning Jog. I am your host, Matt Cohan, and I am joined by two hunks who I admire, Robbie Berger and Francis Ellis. Hi.
Top of the week, top of the morning to you, boys.
Good to see you guys again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah, it's been nice. I've really kind of grown attached to you boys in our online little show here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Vice versa. Look, I think it's the same. I think that's a mutual feeling all the way around there on the morning show.
Don't speak for me.
Maybe not for Francis, but for me and Matty Ice. I think we got something really special.
A nice little bond here, buddy. Maybe we should hit the links one of these days.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. I know the Morning Jog is a strong tripod here, but for our first story, I was hoping to get permission to bring on a special guest.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
What do you got in the bag? What do you got in the bag for us here, Matty Ice?
Oh, this is exciting. Oh, it's exciting. What are we?
Oh my God, it's a dog.
Oh, look at the little pup. Sure he did. I did a commercial with that dog, did I not?
You did do a commercial. This is Byron, dude. He's a star. He's a West Highland Turd. He's 7 years old.
I did a voiceover for Byron.
He was in the Bose commercial. He's in some of the content.
Fucking crushed that, did we not?
Yeah, we did crush it. They really enjoyed it.
Nice.
But I'm going to keep him here for this story because it involves him more than it involves any of us. And this story, mind you, it's not from some dog blogger. This appeared on Bloomberg.com under the headline, "Time to Tell America's Dog This Arrangement Won't Last Forever." The article reads, "Dogs are becoming overly bonded, which means they're intensely reliant on our presence to stay calm. Dogs signal this when they can no longer self-soothe and panic after the owner leaves a room or, God forbid, the house. It has to be addressed now, long before your dog is left home solo for long stretches when you return to the office to avoid doggy meltdowns." It then goes into various steps on how to do this. Step 1 is separate at least twice a day for an hour. Step 2 is separate some more with different forms of isolation, such as putting your dog in a crate in the kitchen or tethering her with a leash in the living room. Help me make sense of this nonsense. I know you blogged about it, Frank.
Look, here's the thing. Yeah, maybe people are going to make their dogs expect that the humans are going to be around more than the dogs should. But we've had the foresight with this little dog we've been looking after to teach it meditation and breathing exercises so that it can self-soothe even when we're not around. I mean, no, I'm kidding, but what the fuck?
Oh, gee, you know what, Francis? I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. I was ready just to go nuts.
Yeah, throw on the old Headspace app and some headphones when we run out of the house. No, but I mean, who are these dog experts? Who have they ever seen this unfold? Have they ever seen people be around their dogs for this long and lavish them in love, and then they leave, and then what? The dog just goes so berserk that it chews its foot off? What's happening? Is it going to be in the house barking? I mean, it doesn't seem like giving too much love to your dog in this time is really that negative of a thing. I don't understand how important it is for a dog to self-soothe, but I typically self-soothe myself about once a day, if you know what I mean. And I'm
2 to 3 on weekends for me.
That's his meditation right there.
It depends on if I'm hungover. So we'll see. I don't know. Our dog does the same, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, this makes me respect cats, because cats don't really give a fuck. They don't care. They don't give a shit if you're home, not home. I'm not really big on cats. I don't really trust cat people. Hope neither of you are cat people in there. But it really makes me respect cats, because they just don't give a shit. Every day is just business as usual, whether you're there or not. And, what Francis said, who are these dog experts? Who I also think dogs may get sick of our shit. I think there's some dogs that have a special connection with the owner. I also think there's some things that we do that piss them off. So I don't think it's all great. I don't necessarily believe it to a T. For some people, yes. For some people, no. But if anything, if you're going to get a cat, They don't get.
Oh,
I mean, this
that's
stuff never
awful
happens.
advice, dude. You're just listening. This lady, what this article boils down to, she's like, if you really cared about your dog's mental health, tie it to the garbage can for 2 hours. It's like, no, you can just love the dog while you have the dog. Like,
Yeah.
My dog
they
doesn't
don't
need
live
to get
that
up.
long.
Yeah, it's like treat your dog like a Tinder date after you just found out irritable bowel syndrome. It's like, why?
Yeah,
do you
it's
need...
like you use the time you have with the dog, and give you every minute. I mean, they'll eventually get back and used to it. No.
Yeah,
and if they don't, you just love it as much as you can in COVID, and then you put it to sleep.
Oh my God, dude! Sarah
Francis
McLaughlin must be
ladies and
beside
gentlemen.
herself right now if she's at home listening to the morning Jack.
If I know dogs as well as I think I do, they'd rather live life that way than be, put in isolation for 2 hours a day. While, how are they going to understand that shit?
Stick them in the freezer and go catch a flick. It's like, what?
Yeah.
All right, fellas, and not for nothing, but at least dogs have civilized pooping habits, unlike the subject of our next story. During day 3 of Johnny Depp's defamation lawsuit against British tabloid The Sun, Depp was forced to relive what must have been one of the worst days of his life. On October 26, 2016, the 57-year-old recalled a very unpleasant and ugly morning meeting in which he found out his former business partner had stolen $650 million from him, and he was also $100 million in the hole because he had not paid the government taxes for 17 years. He saunters back home to his Los Angeles penthouse to enter a 30th birthday party his wife is throwing for herself. A party attendee reported Heard appeared irritable and upset and angry with her husband because he's late, which Depp claimed manifested in Heard throwing a haymaker at him before he gets in bed filled with a human turd, presumably from Amber Turd Heard herself. Can your imagination conceive a shittier day outside the untimely death of a loved one, Robbie?
Has there been a divorce that has gone long enough to where it's gone this long with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? I mean, this thing has seemed to just go forever. A new thing comes out day after day. It's like they just can't find an end to this. Could you imagine losing $600 million and then having to go to a party and act like you're there having a good time? I commend Depp for even showing up, to be quite frank. I know it was his penthouse, but I commend him just for being able to show up. And I mean, you talk about a good excuse to have if you are late. Hey, sweetie, I just lost $600 million. Maybe you could cut me some slack.
Look, here, there's just no way this is true. I'm sorry, but you don't lose $650 million. That's too much. Dane Cook lost like $2 million to his brother, who was his financial advisor. That makes sense. I can see that happening, that level of trust. He's in a position to do it, little bits over time, like in Office Space. But $650 million, Johnny Depp, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, there's no way. I mean, I know he was making crazy money for Pirates of the Caribbean, but I think $650 million, well, I guess Johnny Depp probably was the highest actor at one point, but even so, I just don't think many actors, if any, have ever made that much money, let alone lost it all without realizing that it was disappearing. You can't put $650 million on red in Vegas.
It's like, where is that $650 million now?
I mean, I don't know if this is a point for or against your point, Francis, but he's like notorious for being like a vivacious spender, like $30,000 a month on wine or something, which would almost lead me to believe that he'd need that money on hand.
Dude, yeah. And you know, you don't lose $650 million and continue to live okay. Like that's like the fucking SEC would investigate that, right? That's like Enron high financial crimes level shit.
Yeah.
So I don't buy that. And what I'm curious about in this divorce, and to Robbie's point, is you talk about divorce settlements, especially ones among people who are in the public eye, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of divorces are settled before they go to court is to avoid the embarrassing stories that come out that are used to undermine the reputation or to make the other person look like shit. And clearly Amber Heard and Johnny Depp both thought that they had more bad ammunition against the other than the other person did. And now it's turning into this crazy mudslinging, like weird ad libs cartoon of like, well, I found your poop in my bed and you lost $650 million and then you punched me. It's like,
but it's worse. It's worse than that, because this isn't a divorce lawsuit or trial. He's suing the tabloid for a 2018 article calling him a wife beater. So essentially he's spearheading the exact thing he's fighting against, because he's taking them to court and only to have their entire relationship basically
It's one of the most dragged out divorces I honestly think I could ever remember. I think she's been in about 3 relationships since. It almost seems like this has gone on for 5 years.
The divorce is done and done. I mean, she had
this is a libel lawsuit.
Yeah, it's a libel lawsuit.
This is not the divorce. I didn't realize that. I thought this was a divorce settlement too. But
which makes it even crazier, because he's like, dude, we were all moving on from like, and then you're diving into something to have all of this to have your name just smeared all over again. It's like, dude, what are you fighting for?
Yeah.
I mean, text message of him saying he's going to light her on fire and then have sex with her like shit like this. And it's all for him being called a wife beater. I mean, this was a huge, he cucked himself big time on this one, Mr. Depp. All right, fellas. Speaking of toxic relationships, the Washington NFL franchise is doing away with the name that I will not say out of fear as this clip will be dug up and I'll get canceled in 2026. On Monday, the team officially announced they were retiring the name, but according to several reports, will not announce their new nickname due to a trademark dispute. One of the reasons the teams may be having trouble finding a new name is because a man named Martin McCauley has trademarked over 40 potential names, including Red Tails, Warriors, Red Wolves, in hopes of cashing in big if the team chooses one of the names he's trademarked. This guy was just waiting in the wings. How, Roberto?
It's pretty amazing that he almost knew that this was coming. I have no idea how. But if you're the Washington Redskins, regardless of if you want to keep the name or not, it's the best chance to just start over. This isn't the New York Yankees that we're talking about or the Green Bay Packers. The Redskins have been a laughingstock for as long as we can remember. So if you have a free chance to totally clean the slate, totally start new, jump on it. Now, I don't know what they're going to decide on, if they want one of these trademark names, whatever it may be. But hell, there's not a whole lot to be happy about if you're a Redskins fan over the last 10, 15 years. Right. Take the new name and run with it. It's a total clean slate. Nobody's expecting the Washington Red Wolves to win a Super Bowl anytime soon. It's a free pass. You get a free 5 to 10 years without people giving you shit. Take the name, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what's amazing is every time a major sports league announces a new franchise or an expansion team in a new city and the name, it always sounds to me like a WNBA team. Like when the Seattle Supersonics became the Oklahoma City Thunder, I was like, that's a WNBA team.
It never sounds good. It never sounds
always, good. It takes years before you're like, oh, yeah, the OKC Thunder with James Harden and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. That's a serious brand. So as you put it, like hearing the Washington Red Wolves, I'm just like, what are they, a lacrosse team? Like, get out of my face. You know what I mean? But
let me read a couple. I'll read a couple.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Hold on.
So true. It takes a minimum of 3 years to adapt to the name.
Even the Washington Nationals, I remember when they became a thing, right? Like
it takes a little bit for sure.
Like,
the Thunder's a very good example.
Yeah.
Because now the Thunder sounds good. The OKC Thunder.
Yeah, because they were so good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Hold on. My computer's a little.
I have one other point to make about this, which is how sad is it for Native Americans that they were completely ignored on this issue. They've been lobbying for the Redskins to change their name, and sorry for saying it or whatever, but they've every year. This has been the most offensive thing, much more offensive than the Cleveland Indians or the Atlanta Braves or any of the other things. The Washington Redskins is the most offensive name in sports. It's a joke. And everyone was just basically like, we don't care. Sorry, come back next year. And it took a massive civil rights movement by black people for their sports franchise to be like, now the heat is too high from this other group that we feel like we have to change this. So I don't know. It's almost like more an answering of the moment rather than they actually finally.
If there's any evidence of posturing, it's we're doing this not even for you. We're doing this just because it's the hot. So here are a couple of them. Let me see if you guys think.
Let's hear it.
If you guys think these are worthwhile. So Washington Tribe.
It's too adjacent.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't do anything with Native Americans. Get out of here.
Watch they make it. Watch they totally drop the ball. I saw something on the chat. Go ahead.
The Red Tails.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's super adjacent, right? Red Tails almost sounds more racist.
The Washington headdresses, the Washington, peace pipe smokers. Like, you got to get away from that.
Okay, how about this one then? Washington Monuments.
Ugh.
Oh God,
boring.
Rough.
Yeah,
boring.
So boring. Am I going to a football game or a fucking museum?
They are not going to win the NFC East for so long. It's ridiculous.
How about this one? Washington Veterans, a little stolen valor here.
I actually don't mind that. I don't mind that.
I kind of like that.
I
kind of like that.
Yeah.
One more we'll do. How about Washington Warhogs?
That sounds like a CFL team or a XFL team.
Yeah. Although I do like the word hogs in it.
Yeah. CFL is the right. Yeah. What is a war hog? I mean, do hogs go to war? Like, they never. No.
Yeah. Somebody that I saw on the chat said that they're such a poorly run franchise that they're going to change the name to the DC Redskins instead of the Washington Redskins. Just totally dropped the ball on it.
That's the Onion article.
All right, guys, we did it. We changed it. It's going to be the DC Redskins.
All right, fellas. Well, there you have it. Our Tuesday edition of the Morning Jog. Thank you for participating. We're back here same time, same place tomorrow. Love you. Bye.
We love you too, Matty Ice.